It's one of those operations that looks small on a map but loud on a radar screen. What Ukraine is saying is straightforward. A Ukrainian naval grouping, using a mix of surface and aerial kamikaze drones, struck the Sivash drilling platform in the northwestern Black Sea, one of the so-called Boyko towers seized by Russia in 2014, and they eliminated the Russian detachment on it, including an anti-tank missile crew, together with the surveillance kit Russia had installed there. Moscow is saying something different. Russian channels have pushed out a clip claiming a Lancet loitering munition had destroyed a Ukrainian boat. Kyiv's navy answered with a dry smile and said, "Thank you for the posting of our hit." In other words, it is one of those Black Sea information duels in which the same video is narrated in opposite directions. That alone tells you the strike hurt. So let's lay this out. These platforms are not just bits of metal in the sea. Since 2014, Russia has treated the Boyko towers as forward listening posts. They are fitted with radars, hydroacoustic sensors and comms to watch the lane between Odessa and Crimea. Knock out the sensors and you punch a small but real hole in Russia's maritime picture. That's exactly what Ukraine says it's done. There's also a symbolic hook. Sivash was Ukrainian state property, stolen, militarized, and then used to control Ukrainian waters. Hitting it in a way like this is saying the Black Sea is contested again. The footage released by Ukraine shows two key things. First, the approach of a naval drone towards the jack-up platform. Second, an explosion on or near the working deck that would be consistent with hitting a weapons team or their stored munitions. Ukraine's navy then said plainly the enemy's reconnaissance and observation systems and the crew of an anti-tank missile complex were destroyed. That is quite a specific claim, and it gives it greater plausibility. Russia's counterclaim clip doesn't disprove it. It simply shows that Russia too saw a drone near the platform. Kyiv's line that Russia tried to pass off a defeat as a victory is therefore credible in narrative terms, and several Ukrainian and regional outlets treated it that way. So, what is the value of killing a small special forces group on a platform? Three things. It removes eyes and ears, those sensors fed into Russia's picture of Ukrainian movements towards Crimea. Even a temporary blackout makes later strikes or landings simpler. It harasses Russia's literal control. So ever since Ukraine pushed the Black Sea fleet back towards Novorossiysk, it has been nibbling at the remaining Russian positions that help them see and strike. That's part of the rolling campaign of Ukraine. And it forces Russia to spend more on to defend static targets. Every time Ukraine proves it can reach a fixed offshore site, Russia must either garrison it more heavily, which is expensive and it demonstrates its vulnerability, or abandon it. Either outcome suits Kyiv. This strike didn't happen in isolation. In the same week, Ukraine used Neptune cruise missiles on the Oryol thermal power plant and the Novobryanskaya substation inside Russia, both of which supplied power to defense-related enterprises. That tells us Kyiv is in a phase of systematic pressure on Russian military, enabling infrastructure, power, radars, coastal surveillance. The Black Sea rig is the maritime version of those power plant hits. It all pushes in the same direction to weaken Russia's ability to wage war at distance. Russia, for its part, is still grinding forward on land around Pokrovsk and Donetsk, having taken roughly 461 square kilometers in October. So there are two parallel wars. Russia uses manpower and artillery to inch forward. Ukraine uses precision and drones to make that advance more expensive and to chip away at Russia's depth. This rig strike belongs to the Second War. Both sides rushed out videos because they knew that this is a reputational fight as well as a tactical one. For Ukraine, showing a drone hit on a supposedly guarded offshore site says we can still reach any Russian position in the Black Sea. For Russia, pretending to have destroyed the attacker, says our perimeter is intact. Ukraine's mocking response punctures the Russian story, which is why this episode will circulate in Russian mill blogger channels as another irritation. It keeps Crimea and the waters around it live, so it's important politically and strategically. Russia wants that area to be dull, predictable, sealed, and Ukraine keeps lighting small fires there. It reassures partners that Ukrainian maritime innovation is not stalled and is still delivering hits at low cost. It compounds the message sent by the earlier recapture and attacks on the boycott towers that Russia cannot rely on improvised offshore bases to watch the northwestern Baltic Black Sea. And the limits here, well, we should be sober. One platform is not the Black Sea Fleet, and Russia can reinstall sensors. It can cover gaps from Crimea. It can deploy more drones from the peninsula. Ukraine knows this. The point was not to collapse Russian control in one stroke. The point was to keep the attritional pressure going and to force Russia to defend more nodes than it comfortably can. And if you look at the pattern since late October, a picture is emerging. Russia strikes Ukrainian energy to darken Ukrainian cities before winter. Ukraine strikes Russian energy to dim the factories that feed the war. Russia tries to restore a maritime surveillance chain around Crimea. Ukraine knocks out the chain link by link. The Sivash platform was simply the next link, and because it was held by what Ukraine calls an elite unit, the political return in Kyiv is higher than the tonnage of metal actually destroyed. That was the real target. And it looks very positive. Of course, there'll be lots of comments from the pro-Russia League telling me that I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Reading between the lines, it seems clear to me that Ukraine has had a modest victory here in the Black Sea, and Russia is trying to spin it. And that is the story.